Mexico is facing a serious crisis. Powerful drug cartels, often helped by corrupt officials, are causing a lot of violence and fear. Many people are killed every year because of the drug war. The numbers are shocking and show a country living in fear. Since 2018, over 30,000 people have been murdered every year. This makes Mexico one of the most dangerous places in the world, even compared to places at war. And it's not just the murders. Over 115,000 people have disappeared since 2006. No one knows what happened to them, and their families are left with sadness and uncertainty. These aren't just numbers. These are mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters who have vanished. Sadly, sometimes being killed is better than what happens to those who disappear. People live in constant fear of violence. In many communities, people are afraid to leave their homes or speak out because they worry about what the cartels will do. The cartels have many spies and assassins. They control large parts of the country. The violence isn't random, it's planned. The cartels are fighting each other for power and money. They use extreme violence to scare people and get rid of their enemies. This has turned many parts of Mexico into war zones. It's hard to tell the difference between organized crime and terrorism. To understand what's happening now, we need to look at how Mexico's drug war started. It began many years ago because of poverty, corruption, and the demand for drugs in the United States. The growth of the cartels is directly connected to drug use in the US, and how the US has tried to stop it. Starting in the 1980s, Mexico was the main route for cocaine coming from South America to the United States. Rich Colombian cartels worked with Mexican groups, giving them money and knowledge to grow their businesses. This is how the Mexican drug cartels we know today began. When important Colombian drug leaders were arrested in the 1990s, Mexican groups took their place. Groups like the Sinaloa cartel, led by the now-jailed Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, became very powerful. They controlled drug routes and expanded into new areas. The cartels started selling other drugs like heroin, methamphetamine, and the very dangerous drug fentanyl. In 2006, Mexico's president, Felipe Calderón, decided to fight the cartels with the military. The US gave Mexico a lot of money to help. This changed everything. At first, the government caught or killed some important cartel leaders, but this caused more violence as other cartel members fought for control. Using the military caused more human rights abuses by both the cartels and the government. The cartels became even more violent. The military, who weren't trained for police work, also did bad things like killing people without trials, making people disappear, and torturing people. The violence in Mexico isn't just the cartels fighting the government, it's more complicated than that. Sometimes the police and government work with the criminals. It's hard to punish the bad guys because of corruption. The cartels have a lot of power and influence within the government. The cartels have a lot of money and spies. They have corrupted police, judges, and even high-level government officials. This lets them get away with their crimes. They use bribes, threats, and violence to keep people quiet. Even the military, who are supposed to fight the cartels, have problems with corruption and human rights abuses. Soldiers and police officers don't get paid much and are easily bribed. Some of them work with the criminals they should be arresting, killing people without trials, making people disappear, and torture happen too often, and no one is punished. Things are even more complicated because some people have formed their own groups to fight the cartels. They are tired of the government not protecting them. Some of these groups really want to help, but others have become criminals themselves or are controlled by criminals. It's hard to tell who is good and who is bad. Mexico has tried many different ways to stop the violence, often using the military. Since President Felipe Calderón started his war on drugs in 2006, every president has tried to figure out how to bring peace and stop the cartels that have corrupted so much of the country. Using the military has led to the capture of some important criminals, but it hasn't stopped the violence. It has also caused many human rights abuses and weakened the rule of law. The next president, Enrique Peña Nieto, said he would stop using the military so much and focus on making the police better. But that didn't really happen. He still used the military a lot, and the violence continued. In 2014, 43 students disappeared from a teacher's college in Iguala, Guerrero. It is believed that the police and criminal gangs were involved. This showed how the government was failing to stop corruption and make sure people were punished for their crimes. The next president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, also known as AMLO, promised to do things differently. He said he would focus on helping poor people and stopping corruption. AMLO created the National Guard, a new police force that wasn't part of the military. He said they would focus on preventing crime. But even though he said he wouldn't use the military so much, he did. The National Guard has been used more like the army. Under AMLO, the military has become even more involved in things like policing and building projects. Some people say that this hasn't fixed the real problems causing the violence and has made human rights abuses worse. When Claudia Sheinbaum became president in October 2024, she promised to continue AMLO's work on helping poor people and fighting corruption. But there's been even more violence since she became president. This makes people wonder if AMLO's plan worked and if the National Guard can really stop the cartels.